Welcome to Woman's Secret Signals, the channel where confusion turns into clarity. If you've ever wondered what she really means, why her behavior changes, or whether her signals are interest or just attention, you're in the right place. Here, we break down real relationship psychology, emotional patterns, and the subtle signals most people completely miss. No fake motivation, no confusing advice, just clear insights into how attraction and emotions actually work. Stay tuned, because once you understand these signals, you'll never look at relationships the same way again. Before we talk about signals, we need to clear one dangerous misunderstanding. No woman becomes yours just because she behaves a certain way. Attraction is not ownership, it's not control, it's not a checklist. What people often call "she's already yours" is actually just early emotional interest. And that interest is fragile. It can grow or disappear depending on how you behave next. In real psychology, attraction is built through three things: comfort, emotional safety, and consistent connection. When a woman starts showing interest, she is not committing to you. She is testing emotional compatibility. This is where most men misunderstand signals. They see one sign of warmth and assume certainty. But in reality, she is simply observing. Does he respect boundaries? Does he stay consistent? Does he create emotional safety? Does he understand me beyond surface level? If the answer is yes, interest deepens naturally. If the answer is no, she slowly withdraws. One of the earliest signs of genuine interest is effort without pressure. She replies without being forced. She continues conversations even when they are not exciting. She shows curiosity about your life. But here's the key: this is not submission or belonging, it is emotional exploration. Another important point is emotional comfort. If she laughs easily, opens up personal thoughts, or shares small vulnerabilities, it means her brain is registering you as safe enough. Safety is the foundation of attraction, especially in modern relationships. However, many people ruin this stage by rushing. They assume early warmth means deep attachment. They push for labels, control, or emotional certainty too early. That is where attraction dies. So the truth is simple. If she shows interest, she is not yours. She is engaged in discovering you. And what happens next depends entirely on emotional intelligence, not manipulation or assumptions. One of the strongest indicators of genuine interest is emotional comfort. This is not about dramatic behavior, it's subtle, quiet, and very natural. When a woman feels emotionally comfortable around someone, her behavior changes in three key ways. She relaxes, she opens up, and she becomes consistent in communication. Relaxation is the first sign. You'll notice she is not overly guarded in conversation. She doesn't overthink every message. She responds naturally, without pretending or performing. This doesn't mean constant texting, it means ease. Second is openness. She starts sharing thoughts that are not necessary for the conversation. Small details about her day, opinions about life, or even personal experiences. This happens because her mind starts associating you with emotional safety. Third is consistency. If someone is not interested, their behavior is unpredictable. But when interest is real, communication has a stable rhythm, not obsessive, not forced, just steady. Now, here's an important psychological insight. Emotional comfort is not created by words, but by how you make someone feel during interaction. If conversations feel judged, rushed, or pressured, emotional comfort disappears. If conversations feel relaxed, respectful, and easy, it grows naturally. Many people misread this stage. They think comfort equals commitment. It doesn't. It only means trust is forming. Trust is the foundation of deeper attraction, but it is not the final stage. Another important detail is how she reacts when you are unavailable. A genuinely interested person does not panic, but they do notice your absence. There is mild curiosity, not anxiety. That balance is healthy. If she loses comfort, she also loses interest. That's why emotional safety is more powerful than charm, appearance, or confidence tricks. So instead of asking, "Is she already mine?" The real question is, does she feel emotionally safe and natural around me? Because that is where real connection starts. One of the most overlooked signs of interest is voluntary attention. This means she gives attention without being chased, forced, or reminded. In early attraction stages, attention is the clearest currency of interest. When a woman is genuinely engaged, she will naturally initiate conversations sometimes. Remember small details you mentioned, ask follow-up questions about your life. Show curiosity without needing constant stimulation. This is not about intensity, it's about initiative. Psychologically, this happens because the brain starts categorizing you as interesting enough to revisit mentally. That's a strong signal, but still early stage. However, there is a critical misunderstanding people make here. They think attention equals emotional attachment. It does not. Attention simply means you are in her mental awareness loop, nothing more, nothing less. Another key signal is response quality. If her replies are thoughtful instead of dry, it means she is emotionally invested in the interaction itself, not just politeness. But here is where emotional intelligence matters. Interest is never one-sided in behavior patterns. A healthy dynamic feels balanced. If you notice you are the only one pushing the interaction forward, it is not mutual interest. It is maintenance from your side. True interest has flow. It doesn't feel like chasing, it feels like natural continuation. Also, timing matters. If she replies when she is free rather than delaying excessively without reason, it suggests you are not an obligation, but you are also not ignored. That middle zone is where real interest lives. Still, it's important not to overanalyze every message. Psychology is about patterns, not isolated actions. One good reply means nothing. Consistent behavior means everything. So instead of decoding every text like a puzzle, look at the overall pattern of engagement. Because real attraction is not loud, it's consistent, subtle, and emotionally balanced. Emotional investment does not begin with big confessions or dramatic moments, it begins silently. When a woman starts emotionally investing, she begins including you in her thinking patterns. This is one of the strongest psychological shifts in early attraction. You may notice, she asks about your future plans. She shows concern about your well-being. She reacts emotionally to your successes or struggles. She remembers emotional details, not just facts. This means you are no longer just a casual interaction. You are becoming part of her emotional landscape. But here is the key point. Emotional investment is fragile. It grows only when there is consistency and emotional stability. If someone is unpredictable, distant, or emotionally chaotic, investment stops immediately. Another important signal is emotional mirroring. This happens when she starts matching your emotional tone. If you are calm, she is calm. If you are playful, she responds playfully. This subconscious synchronization is a strong indicator of comfort and attraction. However, emotional investment does not mean exclusivity. Many people confuse early investment with commitment. That is a mistake. At this stage, she is still evaluating compatibility, not deciding permanence. Also, emotional investment can decrease if pressure is applied. For example, if someone demands labels too early or forces emotional intensity, it creates resistance instead of attraction. The healthiest dynamic is gradual progression, not forced acceleration. One more subtle sign is emotional availability during low-effort moments. If she still engages when the conversation is not exciting, it means the connection matters more than entertainment value. That is a very strong indicator of real interest. So emotional investment is not about intensity. It is about depth over time. And depth only grows where there is comfort, respect, and emotional balance. Real interest is not dramatic. It is not confusing. It is not a game. It is consistent emotional presence. When a woman is genuinely interested, you will notice a combination of stability and warmth in her behavior. She does not disappear for no reason. She does not create unnecessary confusion. She maintains a natural rhythm of interaction. More importantly, she shows emotional continuity. She does not treat you like a stranger one day and a close connection the next without reason. Real interest also includes curiosity. not interrogation, but genuine curiosity about your thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Another key indicator is emotional responsiveness. When you share something meaningful, she reacts with genuine engagement, not indifference. However, the most important truth is this: real interest never requires guessing games. If you constantly feel confused, anxious, or uncertain, that is not strong interest. That is inconsistent connection. Healthy attraction feels clear in behavior, even if it is slow in development. At the same time, it is important to remember that interest must be mutual. One-sided interpretation can lead to false assumptions. The healthiest approach is not to decode her psychology as a strategy, but to observe whether the connection is naturally balanced. Because real relationships are not built on hidden tricks, they are built on mutual emotional alignment. So instead of asking, "Is she already mine?" a better question is this connection growing naturally, or am I forcing meaning into signals? When the answer is natural growth, you have something real. When the answer is confusion and imbalance, you have uncertainty, not connection. And that distinction changes everything in relationships.